righty, you're on.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our leadership class today. It is Wednesday, February 15th, and boy, we got into a good conversation, a good lengthy conversation about the benefits of PACE last week. We were talking about this two-prong approach and what our focus should be and the power of PACE and what creates PACE, and we got into such an in-depth conversation about what creates PACE, we didn't get to finish. We didn't get to finish about what stops PACE. So I'm going to start there today. But before I do, I would love to open it up. You need to unmute your line and give me your first name. And let's have some takeaways from last week's call when we were talking about this two-prong approach or the power of PACE. And what did you put into practice? What rang your bell? What was an aha or a takeaway? So ladies, the class is yours. Who would like to share?
Can I?
Oh, but I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah? Can I talk?
Yes, who's this?
This is Kelly
Hi,
Jackson.
Kelly.
Hi. I really liked the talking about getting your people to silver, and as they get started going to silver, then if they're quickly moving towards silver, to start talking about fast start. Because I started talking about fast start with people that weren't quite moving, just starting, and they weren't even getting to, they hadn't recruited anybody yet. And so I think that maybe that overwhelmed them. I don't know. And then my new gal who wasn't interested and way too shy, she said to talk to anybody. I said, well, she all of a sudden just posted on Facebook right after she told me that she was too shy to talk to anybody. So then I said, oh, put them in a three-way, message. And so we started messaging, and then we did it with the next person. I was like, see, this is so easy. You don't have to do anything. Like, I'm going to do all the talking until you're ready to fly on your own. And she's like, oh, this is really easy. So I think it was really good. And I like that starting to talk to them after they've started towards silver.
Right.
And then really building them up.
Right.
So
make sure I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. So we are setting them up for silver from the very beginning. And then the minute they take action, say, hey, we're still going to keep the focus on silver, but I want you to know, I see your potential. I see that you can do this. There's no reason why we shouldn't go for fast start gold. So making that shift. And again, I would set a goal, Kelly, maybe you already have, but I would set a quarterly goal of how many new silvers direct you develop, and then maybe it's a 3-month goal or a 6-month goal, how many fast start golds you create. Because for many of you in this class, you've never developed a fast start goal, or maybe one, all right? So if we can move this needle, if we can move this gauge, more ambassadors to silver and then more to fast start gold. And I'm not expecting 10 fast start gold, 20 fast start, everyone that does this. I'm expecting more to silver, and then there's 1, 2, or 3 champions out of that going for fast start gold. But if we don't talk about it, if we don't hold it up, they're never going to do it. That's really the point. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. You guys have really good plexus hats, by the way. I'm going to have to get a plexus hat so that I come on and have a plexus hat on. That's good. All right. Thank you, Kelly.
So I personally fast started, and
Okay.
I had big fallback after that. So because of recruiting 26 people in that 15 days or whatever, I didn't know how to take care of those people. So my question was, how do we support them to be fast start gold and go all in with them and help them, but at the same time not take over their business? Because I find that the fast starts that we have had issues with, there's such a learning curve and really knowing how to support people that it makes the upline have to do so much of the work. So where's the happy medium, or what advice do you have for that?
Well, first of all, when you said I had the responsibility, I went fast start gold, this is you, okay? You went fast start gold, and then you kind of fell back because you didn't know what to do. Well, you should have been leaving sponsor or an upline mentor. And so then you can, okay, so if you don't have a sponsor, get upline mentor, okay, well then you got to find cross-line support. So it is rare, you're a rarity that someone with no upline support went fast start gold. In most cases, there is going to be a sponsor or an upline mentor that's going to support you. Okay, so it was your experience, but now that you exist, that's not going to happen for your people, right? If they go fast, start gold, you're going to be there to, yes, work with them. And you said, well, what are we going to do? That's so much time and labor. Hell yeah, someone who's going to go fast, start gold, they're worth your time and your labor. They're not a dime a dozen, right? It's not like it happens every day. So when you find a champion, is it worth your time and effort? Yeah. All right. So, oops, hold on. So what might be happening is you're transposing this, we all do this, you're transferring your reality now to the people that you sponsor, okay? But they, unlike you, have you. So they do have an upline support. So your wildest dream come true is that you find somebody who can go fast, start gold. And you just keep working with them and you give them all your time and attention because that's a player. That's a player. And is it a lot of time and effort on your part, to use your words? Because I'm helping them build their organization. Yeah, that's your job. That's how you teach them. That's how you get into their sphere of influence. Finding a player is very labor intensive. Working with a player is very labor intensive, but worth it in the long run. What's happening for so many people is we're putting that same kind of effort into someone who isn't a player. Right? Who's only talking to 1 or 2 or 3 people. And because she's all we have, like I'm putting all this effort in to try to get her to do something, it's labor intensive, but it's nowhere near as efficient. So don't transpose the fact that you perhaps didn't have that upline support because your team has you now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Like your wildest dream come true is that you're going to have people come in here and go wild. I wish I could say it's going to happen a lot. Like you're unique that you could sponsor. Okay, now how many people did you sponsor in 15 days?
26.
Okay, you sponsored 26 people in 15 days. Of those 26, how many were actual business builders compared to wholesale buying consumers?
Today, 3 years later, I have one that's a diamond and one that's a senior gold.
Bam. All right. So if you had to think back though, and I know you don't have an exact number, I sponsored 26 people. If you were just going to give me a ballpark, were half of them really business builders, a quarter of them? What do you think?
Well, they were all 100% wholesalers. This was me convincing them to work the business. One
all right.
2 years to work the business and the other worked after 6 months.
Okay, interesting. So I brought in 26 people, really wholesale buying consumers. All right. You've learned now through experience how to drive more people faster. You've learned from experience how to identify a wholesale buying consumer from a business builder. So again, you're going to take all that knowledge, and as you're working with your people, and when you find people who are prepared to sponsor 3, 6, 9, you're going to be able to help her identify who of these people are wholesale buying consumers, who are business builders. Now you say all your people were wholesale buying consumers. I'm not necessarily convinced that's completely the reality. I don't know what you were saying to them. You might have been posturing wholesale buying consumer to them, and you're nodding yes. Okay, so now the fact that you get to chat with your ambassadors, new people, you're going to be able to, okay, let me give you a scenario. You sponsor Kelly. Kelly goes out there and talks to a lot of people. You're going to be able to help Kelly now say, hey, this gal, wholesale buying consumers at this moment in time. Not that we're going to not talk to them and weave the business into it, but this gal, they're in it to win it. They're in it to develop a business. So this is how we're going to work with them. They're going to have you to identify that. So perhaps that time frame, the diamond who didn't get started for 6 months, we're still going to have situations like that, but she may have started faster. Maybe not. But maybe would have started faster if the message around pace would have been different.
I agree.
So I want you, which is normal, we're all a reflection on what we know. We're all a reflection of where we've been. We're all a reflection of what our reality is, okay? We can't choose our parents and we can't choose our upline. It's just one of those things in life. Okay, so the fact that you don't have an active supportive upline, we still love them, no judgment. But so now for you, what's the solution? Okay, in fact, I just got off a leadership call with a group from a different company, and this gal was saying the same thing. She hasn't had upline support, so she's a leader. This was a leadership class, and she was saying she's feeling stuck because she's what she called, I'm having this mama bear guilt because I'm feeling like I have to, like the buck stops with me. I don't have any place to go upline, so everybody comes to me, and I got this mama bear guilt about helping people move forward. And I told her, look, this job isn't about being mama bear. This job is about developing leaders. And if we're going to get into all that emotional guilt about taking responsibility for everybody's success, it's going to be very difficult to step into your leadership style authentically. So I just thought I'd bring that up in case perhaps you were having some of that also. Okay, so what's the solution, right? Everything deserves a solution. So I said to her, first of all, awareness that you're having mama bear guilt. Number two, quit saying you're mama bear, like quit defining yourself that way. And number three, the solution is let's develop leaders. I don't want to be mama bear. I want to be the best leader who's developing leaders. That's what we do in this organization. So I told her I wanted her to get support. I wanted her to find cross-line support, and which you probably have. Cross-line support, an accountability partner would be great for you if you don't have one already, if you don't have that upline help. But that accountability partner, my friend, should kick your ass. I mean, she's got to be someone who's going to really hold you up like a strong sponsor would. Right? So make sure that you've set the boundaries, that you guys just aren't chit-chatting like girlfriends, right? That you really, I mean, still have fun, but make sure the conversations are all about goals and activities to move forward and calling you on your stuff, because we all have our stuff, right? And then your next job would be to look at your direct ambassadors and who are those key leaders, and your focus on developing leaders. I mean, those are really the solutions when we don't have upline support. I'm glad you brought that up. Good. All right, my friends, unless anyone else has a really pressing takeaway, which I'm happy to hear. All right, let's jump into some more training and then we'll open it up again. All right, so we talked about what creates pace. So now what I want to do is talk about what stops pace. What stops pace? What are the things we're doing that unintentionally is stopping the pace of our business? Okay, number one, information overload. God, we're just giving them too much information, right? You know, let me send you 10 links and 3 documents and, 5 Zoom replays. And I mean, it's just too much, right? They don't have to know everything you know about Plexus as they begin their business, right? So information overload, talk to your sponsor, talk to a cross-line support, talk to a mentor, and let's make sure that we're not giving them too much information. Okay, what else stops pace? What else stops pace? Texting. Okay, so what I don't want you to do is hang up the phone and call your sponsor and say, whoa, Leslie says not to text. Okay, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is texting is stopping pace. We are hiding behind the text. I'll give you the example, all right? I'll even use my phone. I'll give you the example. So I sponsor someone, right? So I sponsor Susie Q. And what do? Hey, Susie Q, so excited to be working with you. This is going to be great. Make your list. We're going to do 3 calls, right? I add a few emojis. Bam, I hit send. Okay, what happens? The email comes back. Boy, Leslie, thanks so much. I'm real excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. I'm working on my list. We'll make this happen. A couple of emojis. Bam, she hit send. Okay, now what happens? Nothing. Like nothing, right? We're not in action. We're not working a list. We're not doing 3-week calls. Nothing's happening. All we've done is send some texts back and forth, right? So 3 days go by from enrollment. 4 days go by from enrollment. I'm like, yo, Susie Q, what's up, man? We got things to do. Let's talk to people. And I send her a nice, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I send the text. She writes me back. We've all heard it. Man, I'm busy. Right? We've all heard busy, 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 busy week at work. I've been busy. Woo! I've been busy, busy time. Oh, you know what? Hold on one second. Arelis, go. Is he here? Send him up. Tell him I'm on a conference call to just come up and do his thing, but I cannot be interrupted. He wasn't supposed to come until 9:30. So he's early. He can't talk to me. Okay, thanks. Bye. I have a subcontractor coming. He's early. So anyway, so she writes back, I'm busy. Busy week, busy week. You know, I want to do this, but it's busy, right? So what happens after that? Nothing. So we've had 2 texts come by, 2 texts happen, and nothing's happening. All we're doing is texting. But you're in denial. Hey, I got a player. She's in denial. Hey, I'm working a business. But nothing is happening. Right? So there is an irrefutable law in our business, whether you buy into it or not. There's an irrefutable law that basically is this. The faster, meaning the shorter the window, the faster you can help your new ambassador take action, get a win. From day of enrollment to some type of win, the faster that happens, a new preferred customer, a new ambassador, some kind of event, okay? The faster that happens, the greater the odds she's gonna stick. The greater the odds she's gonna stick around at least long enough to get vested emotionally and ultimately vested financially, right? Okay, the shorter that time period. Conversely, the longer that time period, the longer the time period from day of enrollment to some type of action, to some type of win, the longer that period, the greater the odds she's going to quit before she ever even starts. And that's just the reality of it. So we go back to our texting example. Man, we're going 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and what's happening? Nothing except texting. So you're living that law. You're living that law of inactivity. And then we wonder why we quit. We wonder why they don't take action. We wonder why they quit before they ever even start. So don't hide behind the text. So I've given this a lot of thought. You know, people come up to me and go, I can't get them on the phone. Or they're interested and then I can't get them on the phone. So I heard that enough times that I just have been noodling on this because I believe there's a solution for everything. Okay, we get into a certain way of acting and there's a solution for everything. Hold on, ladies. I'm just going to close my door and let him know. Okay, you guys can come in and do your thing, but you're early. You were supposed to come until 9:30. So I'm on, yep, but I'm glad you're here. You're going to cover everything and protect everything. And, okay, good morning. Sorry to greet you that way. All right. So I told Charlotte not to come till 9:32. Okay, if you need me. Sorry, ladies. Okay, so I gave this a lot of thought. And so here's what I'm thinking. We start the prospecting process via texting or some sort of social media, messaging, Facebook, texting, whatever. I'm thinking we allow that to go on too long. Right? So let's think about this. Suzuki is my prospect. I reach out to her. I talk to her. And then she starts writing me back. She has some interest. She starts talking back to me. Okay? She starts asking me questions. Tell me more about the pay plan. Tell me more about how this works. And I keep answering on text. So, the more I thought about this, I think a possible solution for this is if you stop the texting process sooner, right? So the minute she shows some interest, you say, look, I'd love to tell you more, but I can't do it via text. It just doesn't, it gets lost in translation. We must schedule a brief phone call. And I think that's going to help you get more people. Like I was at an event, somebody said it, and on the plane ride home, I thought, okay, you know what? I've heard this 5 or 6 or 10 times. Okay, and I believe there's always a solution for everything. So if people are out there really perplexed as to why they're not getting people on the phone, what could we do differently? So that's what I tasked myself. That was the question. So I thought about it for a few days. I thought about my own interaction with clients on the texting, and that's just what came to me. Now I've run this by some of my private clients, and I've mentioned it in some classes, and I'm getting some really good response back. So I think we're onto something here. So I just want you to be conscious, and then you're going to train this to your team. Stop that process sooner. Don't allow it. Or as early in the process as possible. Say, look, I'd love to tell you more. I'm glad you're excited. I'm happy to tell you more, but I cannot do this effectively on the text. Now it's time for us to schedule a brief phone call. Give her a couple of options. I can talk tomorrow at 10 or tomorrow at 2 or Thursday at 1. Give her a couple of options and say, I can't wait to get this scheduled and tell you more. Bam. And let's see if you get more people on the phone that way. I know it's going to work because I've heard enough stories. Does this make sense? Could you guys nod? Is this making sense to you? Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so what stops pace? What stops pace? Okay, information overload, hiding behind the text. All right, not knowing next steps. That's the third thing that stops pace, not knowing next steps. Okay, if they don't know their next steps, what are they going to do? Nothing, right? They're going to do nothing. So give me 1 second, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got to let the gal know to let them up. I'm sorry. Not knowing next steps. If they don't know what to do, they'll do nothing. So as a leader working with a new ambassador, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? You're always giving her something to do to move forward in her business. Right? So not knowing next steps slows down pace. What else slows down pace? Oh, especially with the nutritional company. And for those of you that know me know that I come from nutrition, right? What slows down pace? Not having a balanced message. How many of your new ambassadors go out there and they're only talking product? I did the same thing myself, right? So I don't believe we have to take the first 30, 60, 90 days and only talk product. I don't think that's necessary. In fact, I think that's a disservice, actually. Okay, so from day one, balanced message. Products, business, business, products, products, business, balanced message. Okay, what else slows down pace? Fundamentally, not talking to enough new people. Emphasis on talking and new, not talking to enough new people. For most people who are not satisfied with the pace of their business, they just simply aren't talking to enough new people. They think they are, but if you look at the data, it proves otherwise. And I'd like to ask them, how many new people have you talked to in the last week? Just in the last week. And they would say, I'm talking to lots of people. How many people have you talked to in the last week? 1, 3, 5. Okay, even 5. Okay, is 5 enough to move forward? No. Right? And if they're only talking to 1 or 2 people a week, I like to tell them, yeah, that's a pace, slow. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at what's happening. Right? So it's our job to, without judgment, to point out they may think they're talking to enough people, but for most people, they truly just are not talking to enough people. And that's something to be coached over and over and over and over again. Okay, so those are the things that slow down pace, right? All right, what else? Okay, 1 second. I apologize, ladies. I thought I had this all organized. Best laid plans. Okay, so that was pace, what creates pace, and what slows down pace. So now what I want to talk about, I want to shift to a complementary topic, but that's close to this. And I want to talk about your genealogy. I want to begin the conversation to where you can start looking at your genealogy, looking at your organization, and start, as a leader, start understanding what's creating the growth, what's driving the growth, where the point's coming from, right? And I think it's really important. So from a genealogy, from a new conversation standpoint for your note taking, right? Number 1, when you look at your sponsoring, especially with your pay plan, when you look at your sponsoring, just like we were talking about earlier, I want you to begin to identify that as you sponsor ambassadors, who are wholesale buying ambassadors as compared to business building ambassadors. Now, I absolutely get the point that people are going to go from wholesale buying consumers, you know, they get their product results, you talk about the business, you weave it in. I certainly get that these people, many of them, not all of them, but many of them go forward and build a business. And I get that. Okay. But who's going to go fast? Who's going to get to silver? Who's going to go faster at gold? I mean, you want to identify the business builders when you sponsor them and treat them that way from day one. So it's good with your paid plan to understand who are the wholesale buying consumers and who are the business builders. And I would even be watching my language around it. Okay. So just like this example earlier, I sponsored 26 people. Well, how many of them were keen on building the business? Not a lot of them, right? Okay, but again, that was your language. And I think with your language today, you're going to be able to identify people in a different way. Okay, so I want you to not only set your sponsoring goals as leaders, set your sponsoring goals, but I would be setting goals around, okay, I'm not just going to sponsor, but of the people that I do sponsor, how many are actually going to be focused on building the business? You cannot be in denial at this point in your career if you truly want to move this forward. So rather than just a sponsoring goal, so okay, between now and the end of February, or let's just say between now and the end of March, between now and the end of March, how many people do you want to sponsor? And of the ambassadors that you sponsor, how many of those are going to be keen on the business from day one, like legitimate business builders? Is this making sense? Say yeah. Yeah. All right, so that's number one, is really not being in denial, because you got, I hear it all the time. Like, I sponsored 6 people. Well, how many of them are interested in the business? Well, none. Well, then why are we talking about sponsoring 6 people? Like, do I see potential there ultimately? Sure. But is it the same potential as someone I sponsor that's ready to run at this very second? Like, haven't you all sponsored someone who was ready to run from the minute you sponsored her? Right? Not everybody has to start at a wholesale buying consumer. Okay, and this is going to be a reflection of your language and your ability to transfer the vision and tie their why, what's driving them, and tying that why to pace and the benefits for going fast. All the things we talked about last week. Okay, so another thing I would have you think about, and again, we're just talking about genealogy and strategies here that will pick up pace. Are you holding up senior ambassador? And I've talked to some leaders about this. Are you holding up senior ambassador as some kind of like first step destination? Okay, raise a hand since we're on Zoom. Like, how many say this is the first step? Okay, now, do you think you have people in your downline that are holding that up as some kind of first step? Okay, so what is the first step, do you believe? Silver? Okay, but are you absolutely convinced, like you're all nodding yes, are you absolutely convinced that that's the first goal that your newer ambassadors are promoting to their newer ambassadors? Like, are you convinced? Because look at the data. How many people get to silver in their first 30, 60, 90 days? I don't think the numbers are high. So what's slowing that down? So if they're really that good at holding up silver as the first destination, why aren't more people getting to silver faster? Okay, a lot of reasons. Okay, someone who sponsors didn't make silver, right? Okay, so if I'm not silver, I don't know how to promote silver, right? That's part of it. If I was brought in as a wholesale buying consumer, I think this is kind of pervasive in your company. If I'm brought in as a wholesale buying consumer, everything's been softened for me, meaning, oh, you don't need to put in a lot of hours and just get your results on the products. And we don't have to make a big investment. And we don't investment in time. Come on, we can just fit this in when it's comfortable and fun. And we don't have to talk to lots of people. And I don't want you feeling uncomfortable and blah, blah, blah. Okay, what I call hobby mentality, right? Or playing small. You're playing small for them. And then you wonder why no one gets off the dime, right? Because people are so desperate to sponsor, right? But not only are you sponsoring a wholesale buying consumer, not really a business partner, you keep dampening what it takes to create some kind of success. So for a different philosophy here, I would have you think, this is why, let me backtrack for a second. This is why I want you to have more clarity on who you sponsor and to be able to differentiate the difference between a wholesale buying consumer and someone who actually wants to build a business. So that clarity is, they're going to define that. But if you hold everybody up, so, you know, Susie Q, I don't really know where you want to go with this. So let's define where you want to go with this, right? And get clear on her why, because it's always about what she wants. Okay, so we've got to have clarity. Does she just want to dabble, or does she really want to create some income? Because your pay plan has the potential for career income. So I don't want people dabbling around and just thinking, we can just make a few little extra bucks. No, I mean, the great potential is there. So if you hold everybody up, you know, Susie Q, if the time's right, this is a fit. Our first goal is going to be able to find your first 3 business partners. We're going to hold you up for what we call silver. We're going to move you forward faster. And hey, you don't need full-time hours to go fast. It's what we do in the hours that we have. And if you hold everybody up for silver by, let's figure out a time that makes sense. How about by the end of their first full month? So if I sponsored someone today, what if we say by the end of March or sooner? Would that be reasonable? If we always say by the end of their first full month, we get them to silver. Or more, but if we get them to silver. And if you hold everybody up to that who says they want to build a business, not the dabblers, but everybody who says they want to build a business, if you hold everybody up to that, is everybody going to do it? No. But do you get that more people will by you holding this up? And then rather than, you don't have to do a lot, and we don't have to talk to lots of people, and maybe we'll just talk to your mom and your sister. And, you know, if you don't play small, if you hold it up, it's still fun. It's still fun. But if you hold it up for all that's possible from a fun, income, business, leadership, if you hold it up to everything that's possible, allow them to decide how they're going to jump. What's happening is you're playing small for everybody that you sponsor. And it is pervasive. It's pervasive in your company. Doesn't have to be. I think your company is outstanding. Your products are amazing. Your pay plan's so unique. Your culture is so warm and collaborative. Why wouldn't I hold everyone up to have fun and build a business? I have to say it's a hell of a lot more fun building a business than being on the outskirts, wondering what to do, how to do it, or being one of those women that always march down the aisle whenever I'm training at a Plexus meeting on a break. Someone comes down and says to me, you know, she usually has her hands on her hips and she's a little irritated. She says, no one even told me about going fast, right? They're mad. Like they see it, they got it, they want it, but no one's coaching them that way. So yeah, just unmute yourself and
can I just add something that you just said, and it just totally, it's the language, it's the lingo that we use that we've duplicated down in how to reach out to people, because like you said, we don't want them to feel like they're getting into some big business where they are, you know, there's quotas and there's responsibilities and there's a whole bunch of time that they have to put forth. So from the beginning, we want them, number one, to get on the products. We want them to have success with the products and feel good. But yes, we are holding out that hope that they want to build a business. But when you said certain things, like even the way you approach saying for the business builder, let's get your first 3 ambassadors, you said business partners. And a lot of times we will say, you know, who are your closest friends, your family, and we do point out their mom, their sister, because they are the easiest to approach, you know, the ones that are more supportive. And then those are the ones normally that do fizzle out, but they do get them that first success. But if we could just work on changing our lingo, like you said, in approaching them, well, okay, let's get you to silver, your first 3 business partners. It gets them thinking away from mom to who's a business partner to me.
Yep.
I like that.
It's all perspective on how you treat this. If you're going to treat everyone like a dabbler, why should we treat everyone like a dabbler? And I come from nutrition, Jen, and hey, I get that some people are going to want to get their product results before they start building their business, but not everybody. When they see what's happening with your company and whatnot, you're going to have a lot of people come on board and say, hey, I know the products work. There's enough stories. Let's create this as a business. And when we talk about, let's find your first few business partners, then you give them some examples. Like I always said, who are the coolest, sharpest, hippest people that you know? Who are the coolest, sharpest, hippest people? Who are the connectors? Who are the fun people? Who are the successful people? It's just a shift in perspective. I'm not making anything you guys have been doing wrong. I mean, look at the success. There is a pervasive tone of, let's just start with the products. Let's just go slow. I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable. But you know who we're leaving out? Women like every one of you on this call. Who, if you met me in the beginning and I said, look what we got. Here's the pay plan. Here's the business. Here's stuff. You'd be going, bam, let's go. Why are we leaving those people out? Why are we leaving out the people who are looking for a fabulous business and do resonate with what you have and do want to get off to a fast start and do want to make some money? It's that professional, it's the mindset of a leader, Jen.
Yep. Do you have any other good tips you can give us, like those good golden nuggets of words that we can change our lingo so we can duplicate that with our teams?
Okay, so first of all, when we're gonna, yes, well, this language is good, what you've got. So when you're gonna, if you're gonna make this shift, and it's gonna take time to drive anything into your downline, Jen, I feel it takes like 2 to 3 months to drive anything into your downline, even good stuff like this. How I recommend you start is you go to your key ambassadors first. Like if you just threw this out to everyone, you're going to unintentionally blindside your key leaders. So go to your key leaders first, do some role playing, and you all get on the same page. Okay, and then how to drive anything into the downline, you've got the language. How to drive anything in the downline is twofold. Okay, first of all, it's repetition of training. Here's where so many people drop the ball. It's repetition, 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 repetition. People think I got to be giving them, it's that shiny coin syndrome. Like every time I talk to them, I got to give them new shit to do. No, repetition over and over and over and over again, because they're not ready. I wrote this whole blog about this. Intellectually, they may get something, but they're not emotionally ready to put it into practice. If we're not repetition on the fundamentals, they're never going to get the opportunity to pick up these skills. Okay, so the 2 ways to drive anything into your downline: repetition over and over and over and over again, and storytelling, messaging, stories of ambassadors who have taken the system, taken the activity, took the language, put it into practice and got results. That's how you reinforce it, right? So again, as you start talking to your team about, hey, you know what? It's not up for us to decide what they want. Let's talk to everyone about both gifts of this company, right? We got these amazing products, and for the people that want, we have a terrific business as well. So we've got this balanced message, right? And those people who do take a look at the business, we hold it up. Yeah, we're still going to have fun. And yeah, we don't need full-time hours. And yeah, we can work it around your job and the needs of your kids. I work with women all day long. There's language. I work with women all day long who do this business in part-time hours. It's what we do in the hours that we have, right? But nobody's talking like business. No one's keying them up on what are those income producing activities? What does create wealth? What does create business? It's just a shift from, it's just a shift to more of a professional tone and language.
Yes.
Right? That doesn't take all the fun out of it. On the contrary, I think it's a hell of a lot more fun if I can help her go fast and make some money, right? If that's what she wants to do. And again, bottom line, like you say, hey, we just don't want them to feel, okay, this is why the most important thing is to find out what they want, what they need, what they're looking for. That's not what I want for her. What does she want for her? That's key number 1. Right? So that communication. Does she hate her job? Does she want to be home with the kids? Does she want to pay off the debt? Like, what is driving her to take a look at this and picking up this extra ordeal in the first place? So once I have clarity about what she wants, then I think I owe it to her. I owe it to her to say, look, I'm going to lay out the benefits for going fast. I'm going to show you the simple, fun way we can work together. And then it's up to you to decide what you want to do. You see the difference in that? Okay, if I'm right, Suzuki, this is what you want to do. You want to get out of that job. Okay, so to get out of that job, we got to create some income. So to do that, knowing we have part-time hours, knowing we got to work around the needs of the kids, okay, I want to keep this fun in those part-time hours. So I know exactly what to do to work with you to keep this fun, part-time hours, and meet your goal. See, that's different. I'm not holding her up for anything she doesn't want. Right? Playing small for her, I'm holding her up. Now, if she chooses, like a lot of people, not to take action, not to have discipline, not to, do anything, well, then that's not a reflection on me, right? I held her up to the possibilities. Now, if you never hold her up to the possibilities, don't wonder why everybody plays small. Don't wonder why everybody's taking 30, 60, 90 days before they talk about the business. Okay, I come from nutrition. I must have heard it a zillion times. Well, I couldn't possibly sell these products until I get my results. And so this is the answer to that. You want a gold nugget? This is the answer to that. Look, Susie Q, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And if that's what you decide to do, I'll support you 100%. I'm never going to make anyone wrong. Okay, but then the next thing is we have enough stories of success in this company that it is not a question of whether or not these products work. The question is how fast, and then take it back to your why. The question isn't whether or not these products work. The question is how fast do you want to get out of that job, or how fast do you want to be home with the kids, or how fast do you want to pay up the debt. Like if you want to delay 90 days to get your results, fine. Right? And then leave it up to them. Like we were very keen on weight loss when I was in the field, right? So how many times did I hear somebody say, Jen, well, I couldn't possibly sell this until I lose some weight. And I'd say, hey, I get that. And I appreciate that. And I respect that. But let me tell you, I've lost 35 pounds. Look at the hundreds, if not thousands of stories we have. It's not a question of whether these products work. The question is how fast you want to get out of that job you just spent 20 minutes telling me you hate, right? And then I would make an even more realistic point. How many years did it take you to put on that weight? Right? So we're going to take a reasonable period of time to get it off. Are we going to wait for you to build your story, create the income, get out of that job until you're the perfect you? I mean, that's an option, but I don't recommend it. Right? So we just lay out the logic to get them to think differently. Yeah. I can see your wheels turning, Jen. It's good.
Can I ask another question, Leslie?
Yeah, hi there. It's the woman in the car office. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi. So I do think that you're dead on when you say that we do give information overload. And that's one of the things that stops pace. And even today, I mean, I have a call scheduled today with a girl that wants to rock the business from the beginning. I mean, it was a total God thing. So my question is what is enough? I mean, obviously the basic is, okay, just share with people, but in your experience, what would you say is enough information and not too much?
Okay, excellent. First of all, it may be a God thing, but if you hadn't talked to her and shared your passion and story, it's an Elizabeth thing as well, okay? I mean, take partial credit for that. If all you would have talked about were products, you mean a wholesale buying consumer, that's who would be delivered to you today. Do we get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So take your part in the process as well. Okay, so now you got this gal who's excited about the business because something you said, you did, your example has her excited. Okay, so what's enough? I believe in get your paper and pencil, and I'm going to give you a little list. Okay.
Okay.
So you keep it really simple. First of all, you got to get really clear on her why. Okay, so you want to talk about what's driving her. That's the most important thing we can do is figure out what is driving them. Because that why, whether it's to get out of the job, be home with the kids, pay off the debt, that why drives discipline, drives courage, drives consistency, drives us through activities that perhaps we're uncomfortable with, drives us to learn and do things that are new for us, which makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Okay, so get clear on her why. Okay, next, balanced message. Make sure from the very beginning you're teaching her balanced message and let her know we're going to talk to lots of people. Right? We're going to talk to lots of people. And the faster we talk to lots of people, we're going to find your first PCs and we're going to find your first business partners. Okay, what's next? Holding her up for an initial goal, like we were talking about earlier. holding her up to get to silver as quickly as possible, and keep telling her, you want to rock this? We're going to get you to silver as quickly as possible. You want to rock this? The women who rock it, go fast, start gold. And then what I might do if I were you is do a 3-way call then to someone in your upline who can reinforce, hey, I hear from Elizabeth that you want to rock this thing. So let me give you some advice, man. Silver as quickly as possible and fast start gold. Like if you got that potential and you want to rock it, those are the proven next steps if you want to rock it, right? Have somebody reinforce that with you. Okay. What's next? Package her story, right? Make sure that she has, package her business story. You can give her something to say about why she's building her direct selling business.
Yeah.
All right. Teach her about the benefits of 3-way calling and make sure to do the 3-way calls. And you got to coach her on how that's the number one way you can help her go fast. And so I want to ask you, Elizabeth, when you were prospecting this gal, did you do a 3-way call before now?
I sent her an initial message last night, and I mean, literally part of the message was, I've been praying on my business. You came to my mind. That was how it was. And her message was extremely long. She told me her why, told me that her and her husband had been praying for something and that she was super passionate about health and fitness. So she is ready to go head on. And so we're doing a 3-way call today to go ahead and tell her a little bit more, but I don't want to tell her too much before she joins. Likely, she's pregnant. She just found out she's pregnant. She wants this business to be something she can do full time. She's also in the military.
Okay, excellent. So she's got the discipline in the military. I like that. If she just found out she's pregnant, we got 9 months to kick ass, depending on how pregnant she is. 8 months to kick ass. So let's give that, can drive urgency so she can actually build a legitimate foundation in her business so that she can have a baby, do her thing, and have some options when she's ready to come back. All right, so that would be a window, definitely of time. Maybe we set a goal of emerald before the baby, right?
Yeah.
It may that seems, what are you laughing, Jen? Is that too high or too small? Okay, hold on, Elizabeth. Jen, why are you laughing?
It's definitely doable, that's for sure. But I'm just saying that's a huge goal. That's a huge
Okay, so should we say Senior Ruby?
Yeah, Senior Ruby.
Okay.
I'm a Senior Ruby trying to get to Emerald, and there's so much that it entails that, but it's been done. So, it's everyone in their journey.
Okay, fair points. So come back to me, Elizabeth. How about Senior Ruby or higher?
Yeah.
How about Senior Ruby or higher? So let's set a goal for 8 months, but that's just something to say out there. And now let's bring her back to silver. It all starts with silver. And then I would use military analogies with her because that's where she comes from. See, look, they gave you a system, bam. Things that you have to do, bam. Things that are necessary, bam. Okay, same thing. You want to rock this thing? Let's go silver as quickly as possible. What does that mean? We're going to find our first 3 business partners as quickly as possible. Right? There's plenty of information. I wanted to learn about the products, but if you could get her to understand that if she will connect you via 3-way call with, tell her, let's get the 10 hippest, grooviest people that you know. Let's do our first 10, then we're going to do another 10, then we're going to do another 10. I heard bring in, after that 3-way call today, you're going to hang up and reinforce why you did the 3-way call and the power of another voice and how it's the opportunity for you to work with her, train her, coach her. It's the best way. You can help her build while she learns. Learning to deliver not only the example of 3-way, but the benefits of the 3-way call. Like when I was in the field, I always figured the faster I can get on the phone with 10 of her leads, the faster I can help her get her first partners and her first preferred customers. Like I want to jump into her sphere of influence. She doesn't know what she doesn't even know. I know plenty. Get me on the phone. Let's rock this thing. So if she's saying, I want to rock it, then you say, look, am I understanding you want to rock this? She says, yes. You say, then this is exactly what we're going to do. Just like in the military, we have a system. I know exactly how, keep bringing it back to that. She's going to resonate with that or she wouldn't be good in the military. I like that. Shows me discipline. It shows me she's squared away. So
her husband's in the military, but yes, still.
What?
Her husband's in the military.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then she knows it, and she's getting it She'll get it. She'll still resonate with that. Okay. So
thank you.
Excellent. So that's plenty. Like all I want to do in the first 10 days is let's just talk to as many people as possible together.
Okay.
That's pace. Okay, excellent. All right, so what I still want to talk about while we have some time today is we're still on this genealogy now. I want you to look at your qualified legs. And I want you to remove the humanity because we like everybody, okay? But I want you to rate them. I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5, okay? 5 is kicking ass, 1 is doing nothing. Okay, I want you to rate them, okay? And, you know, let's say 3 is creating a little bit of, you know, she's there, she's connected, she's creating some points, but she's not really, or maybe everybody's hustle buying, you know, consumers or whatnot. Okay, a 4 is someone who's actually says she wants to build a business and she's willing to do the system with you. I mean, she's not going at a great pace, but she's not just all talk, she's actually in action. And your 5s are your champions. I mean, these are the people that, you know, are in action, they're rocking it, they're doing the 3-way calls, they're moving forward, okay, at least moving towards silver if they haven't done it or not. Okay, so you know, so you're going to look at your qualified legs and you're going to notice that you have very few who are rated 3, 4, or 5. Would you all agree? Yep, most everybody has 1 or 2 or 3 direct people that are really moving this. Okay, so I want you to do this exercise not to have you feel bad, but so you're not in denial. What slows people from moving to the next level is that you're working with the wrong people. And you're working with them because of who you have, right? You'd rather work with someone who doesn't respond to an email, doesn't respond to a text, won't even talk to you on the phone, hasn't done shit in 90 days, but you know what? She's mine, right? like she's my gal, you know, and you'd rather, this is what slows down promotion to the next level. Because we're working, I mean, again, no judgment. I don't have a judgment. But again, if they're not willing to act, if they're all talk and no action, are you willing to gamble your title? Are you willing to gamble your income? Are you willing to gamble your success on the women who are choosing not to move forward? And I'm saying don't do it. And everybody does it because it's easier, because they're there. And you're trying to beat them into submission. And it ain't gonna happen. Now, this doesn't mean that you stay inclusive and invite them, right? Because again, someone not in action now may get into action in the future. Who knows? And I get that. So keep her involved, you know, and you ask the qualifying question. Hey, Susie Q, are you satisfied with what's happening with your Plexus business? And if she says yes, no stress on your point. If she's not stressed, you don't be stressed. But if she's not satisfied, then you can do the same drill we just did with Elizabeth. Let's just, and again, what a lot of people do is, well, when you're ready to work, let me know, make some calls. They don't give them a concrete plan of action. Okay, so what I would say with someone who says, hey, no, I really want to do this. I'm ready now. Okay, fine. I'll work with you for 30 days. Give her a time frame. I'll work with you for 30 days. And as long as you're in action, you get my attention. But you got to understand, Susie Q, I'm very focused. 2017 is my year, right? And so I'm working with those people who really want to move forward with me. I like you either way, right? So if we're going to work together, give it a limit, 30 days, so that you don't commit to something you don't want to live up to. Okay, so 30 days. God, my text is going wild. For 30 days, and then what do? Package their story, right? Make sure they have a good story. And the same thing we told Elizabeth, hours of operation. So they commit to some hours. Make sure they have, understand how to do a 3-way call and commit to 3-way calling. List of names, 10, strategic list of 10. Like I feel, let's not freak them out. 200 people, strategic list of 10 are really cool people. Connectors, successful people, achievers. Let's throw this by them. Let's see. They'll either have an interest in your products, interest in the business, or give us a referral, right? And so give them the actions. If they take action, give them your time. If they don't take action, still love them, shine your light on them, but don't slow down. See, this is the lesson. Don't slow down your pace to the pace of women on your team who are not willing to act. Yep. Bam. All right, ladies, I want to have time for Q&A, or comments or a takeaway, like a key takeaway from something you heard today. All right, so let's open it up. Elizabeth or Jen or Alyssa or...
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Okay, so you mentioned that one of the biggest things that's going to move our business is talking to new people every week. And you said that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that wasn't enough. So in your opinion, for our industry, based on your experience, what would be a good guideline for that to share with ourselves and our teammates?
Yep, I get this question all the time. Excellent question. Now, I'm not being flip. I think you're getting enough of my personality by now. People ask me that question, I say more than you're talking to now. Right? And I'll tell you why, because I don't know who's on your team. Some people don't resonate well with goals, right? Some people, if I say 10 a day, they're like, I mean, that's too much, right? Or STEM, I may say 5, and I've limited someone who could do 10. So to me, every leader needs to decide the type of women that they're working with or whatever, but fundamentally, it's more than they're talking to now. That really is the answer. And so ideally point out to them, how many of you talked to in the last week? How many new? They may have made 5 calls last week, all the people in their funnel who've been telling them no for 6 months, right? So how many new people? And point out to them, well, that's a pace and you see where that's going. Right? And then I like to point out to them also, look, you can't control a lot of stuff, but you can control the number of new people you talk to and how fast you talk to them. That pace is something you can control. And then ask them, how many would you like to talk to? You set this goal. How many new people would you like to talk to? And help them come up with a number. And that buy-in, after you've pointed out the reality, that buy-in will help them. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yep, just a different way to coach. Yep.
I have a question, Leslie.
Hey,
I got a question. Hey, am I talking over someone?
Nope. Who's this?
Okay, so when we're looking at our qualified legs, you're talking about looking at our level 1s,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Well, what if you have 5 level 1 check collectors? How do you deal with that? I mean, I know you're not going to change them as being check collectors. I mean, they're going to do what they got to do to get the check every month.
Right.
But how do you address their teams?
Okay. So Michelle, what are you calling them? Check what?
Check collectors.
Oh, check collectors.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So people who have built volume underneath them, they're getting the points, they're getting the check, but they're not actively growing
They're
their business.
checked out, but they're getting the money. Yeah.
Okay, so when this happens, ideally what we want to do is you're going to look at your level 2, and you're going to identify who are the hungry people on their level 2. Also, that would, when I hear that, unless you're perfectly satisfied with the income that you're making now, Michelle, okay, is one thing, but if you want more, would it make sense with your pay plan to continue to go wide and to continue to sponsor new business building ambassadors and create some new legs? Of course.
Yeah.
So I would challenge yourself, if you have a majority of those check collectors, which perhaps we rate them as 3s, right, on that rate scale, then what do you say? And what's your title, Michelle? Are you diamond?
Sapphire.
You're sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on your way to diamond, right? Okay, so now more than ever. Okay, so you're looking at those check collectors and you're thinking, if those gals were actually doing the activities to scrape points, I'd be a diamond now. Right?
Right.
Okay, but I don't want you to think that way, because if they were going to do that, they would be doing that. So this should be driving you. If you want to get to diamond on your terms, then I would say it's middle of February. You set the goal, but you're smart enough and experienced enough to decide between now and the end of April or May or even June, maybe mid-year, between now and the end of June, how many new silvers and higher do you want to develop? Like if you made your primary focus on sponsoring new business partners who are actually going to go deep and create points and volume. Okay, so, or you're going to gamble on your check collectors to get you to diamond, and as you're finding out, they ain't going to get you there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I understand that's what I've got to do, and I'm focused on that. I think my question is, so how much time do you put into these? level 2s and 3s that want it under check collectors, you know they want the business. They have no upline support other than you at that point. And so, do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
yeah,
So how much covered? So first of all, they got to earn it like anyone else. So
Right.
you all would probably have an idea of who the 1 or 2 strongest ones under these people are.
Mhm.
Perhaps you teach in a class environment, which will be better for your time.
Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
You're going to challenge them to, once they get to, say, with your pay plan, Ruby, right? So maybe I would look for rubies. Maybe you start there. Maybe you look for rubies and higher. Or maybe you start with gold and higher. Maybe you start with gold and higher in your level 2. Okay, let's think this through here. I would go to my level 2 then, and under these people, and I would find all the gold is higher. And maybe you have a little class. Maybe you have a little 2 or 3 or 4 call class. And the whole idea is to move them from gold to senior gold, maybe to ruby even over the period of the class, or between now and the end of a certain period of time. And then they're going to meet each other and work together. And so ultimately those 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 women that actually do rise to the occasion, you're going to keep reminding them how, because they don't have the upline support and you can't be everything for everyone, now you're going to help them build sideline relationships so they can depend on each other for some 3-way calls and support.
Okay. That's
So
a great
I
idea.
would
Thank
definitely
you.
go- Yep, I would pull the data and look at all the golds, and then I would reach out and say personal invitation, invitation only. This is going to be a class to get the golds to Ruby.
Okay.
And I've picked you because I see your potential. And
Okay.
so this will be the best use of your time and allow them to build those relationships.
Great.
Does that
No,
help?
that's great. Yeah, because I've just tried to figure out, I don't want to put too much time. I mean, the check collectors, I'm not messing with them. I don't have time to mess with them. But
Right.
yes, I'm just trying to focus on
These people deserve that.
managing my time wisely.
Right. And you're smart. And these people deserve, like, you're going to find some people who are going to drive a lot of points, but you don't want a onesie, like you say. So a little class, an invitation only. I would also include your directs who fall under the same. I mean, why not? I would also find your golds in your directs for the same reason. Right. And so do a 2, 3, 4 call class and see who you can rise. And then you'll know who deserves your time.
Okay. Great.
Excellent question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, ladies, any final questions or comments or an aha from today before we bring this call to a close? Such a good class.
I have
Good.
one more. So
Yep.
when we go into our qualified legs, level 1s, level 2s, wherever it may be, do we decide, okay, this person's a 3, so I do work with them, or is it just you're working with 4s and 5s?
Well, see, to me, I'm rating this to work with the 4s and 5s,
Okay.
right? And you're going to find that your 3s are going to be the whiniest, the ones that want your attention the most, the ones that are going to be all talk and no action the most, and more heartbreaking. These are going to be the people that need it, right? They're going through the divorce. They got 10 kids. They have a lot of debt. They hate their job. I mean, but you know what? We all have to take the responsibility to go forward. And again, you play it by ear. I don't want this to be so cut and dry. Everybody's unique and give everyone an opportunity to act, and that's really the bottom line. And if they act, work with them. And if they don't, love them, but work with the willing.
Just trying to figure out a little more details as to 3, 4, and 5, because I didn't want to make it too broad.
You will know. Again, we're looking for people who are willing to act. Yep. And then the phrase we always use was work with the willing and love the rest. Right? I love them all, man, but are you prepared to slow down based on the pace of someone else? Yep. It's a powerful concept. All this is just learning to think like a leader. Yep. All right, my friends. Good class today. And I will look forward. Let's quickly check when our next class is. We are meeting next Wednesday, February 22nd. And no, we're not. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. No, we're not. We are meeting March
question up
1st.
too about the information that was in the group page. It's gone until I'm out of Facebook jail. So it will pop back up if you're looking for all of the information I've shared. It will pop back up Friday when I'm out of jail.
Okay, look
In the
at
meantime, I'll send it to
you.
Leslie because Leslie is not in jail. Leslie Weaver is not in jail. So I'll have her post it for me.
All right, so our next class is going to be welcome from Mexico. Mexico, is that where you are?
Yeah.
Look at you. Buenos dias, mi amiga.
Gracias.
Okay.
I know. I was told the right thing. That's
So
why they
we're-
give me funny looks.
So we're coming back together on Wednesday, March 1st. That is going to be our next call. So you guys are going to close out the month and we're going to come back together on March 1st for our 4th call. And I'll be looking for takeaways, not only from today's class, which there should be multiple, but how about some takeaways from closing out the month and what lessons learned from closing out the month. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to March 1st. Have a good month then. Thanks for all the great input.
Thank